today's demonstration, I'm going to show you an entire AI-powered recruiting workflow from sourcing to screening to hiring, and how, most importantly, we here at Asymbl bring together both human and digital workers into a hybrid workforce to unlock what's essentially unlimited productivity, adaptability, and growth. We're going to start here inside of Slack, and Slack is our work operating system here at Asymbl, and this is where everything kicks off for our process because this is where everyone works. You can see to create a new job for approval, the only thing our hiring managers have to do is click on this start button. Now I'm hiring for a new position today. I happen to be hiring for a director of customer success, and I'm going to have that be in Austin, Texas. And for a start date, we can push this out a little bit. I'll say November 3rd. And now I, as a hiring manager, my job should be done. That's the only thing I need to do. I need to suggest that I need a new hire, but that needs to go through a myriad of different approval processes. But I, as a hiring manager, see here that my job has successfully been submitted to the recruiting team. I can click finish, and my recruiters and my approval team can get to work. Now, where do they do their work? Well, the recruiting team is using the Asymbl Recruiter Suite and the Asymbl Agentforce Suite inside of Salesforce. And this is where they get their work done. So here inside of Salesforce, you can see that here's all the jobs we have open at Asymbl. If I refresh this screen, you're going to see a new job gets created. And here is that Director of Customer Success position that we had opened recently. So if I click into that job, you're going to see a number of different things. First off, you're going to see that the hiring manager, myself, was brought in. The start date that I input was brought in. The title, those are all the things that I had listed in my job approval. I didn't, however, list a salary. Where'd that come from? I also didn't list a job description, but there happens to be one here. What's happened? Well, we're utilizing the Asymbl Recruiter Agent as our digital worker, and the Asymbl Recruiter Agent was able to look through various jobs that we had in our system, understand what those jobs typically pay, and offer up a salary range for us. It also understands how we like to write our job descriptions, both in the format, the tone, and the content, and it's output a job description for me to use right here. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to spend my time writing a job description. The recruiter agent, as my digital worker, did that for me. But what we haven't done yet is get this job approved. And because it's not approved, it's not posted externally yet. So we need to go through that approval process. Well, up here in the right-hand corner, you can see that we've got a notification. If I open that notification, you can see that I'm requesting approval for this job. Now, I, as the person in human resources or the leader that's responsible for approving these jobs, can make the approval changes that we might need here. And I simply can just click on approve and say job is approved. Now, as part of my workflow, when I click on approve here, you're going to see a number of different things change if we get back into that job. First of all, you're going to see that this job is now posted externally, and I have a URL that I can send candidates to apply. If I click on that link, you're going to see our company website pop up with all of our different job listings, and here at the top, you're going to see this Director of Customer Success. Perfect. It's in Austin. It's just like we wanted. The start date got pulled in. The job description that we had written was here, and now I, as an external candidate, can apply for this job. So we're going to do just that. I'm going to be Aaron Lee for today. I'm going to have my phone number in here and my email. And then I'll upload my resume as well. And I'm going to apply for this job. So I submit my application, I get a message that pops up that lets me know I've successfully applied for this job. And now if we go back into that role here, you're going to see that if I go to my job board applicants, that Aaron Lee has indeed applied for this position. Now, I, as a recruiter, can review this resume. Everything looks great with Aaron. I like him. Let's go ahead and add him to the job here. And just with 2 clicks, I added a candidate to a job. Now, that's just the very beginning of how I would add candidates to a job. Let's find some other ways. Now, I, as a recruiter, know I've been interacting with candidates, and specifically candidates from Austin. I wonder if there might be anyone that could be a good fit. So I'm going to move over to my map view here, and as you can see, I'm looking at Austin. And because I'm in Austin, I see all the candidates that I've interacted with and where they might be located around the city. Now here's Alice here, and actually Alice isn't a fit, but she's a director of project management, and I know I have a position for a director of project management here close by, so I'm going to add her to a nurture cadence. Now what that does is this is going to put Alice into a cadence, which in Salesforce terms is just the ability to send different outreach pieces at different points in time, whether it's a phone call, whether it's an email, But I need to kick that process off. And over here on the right-hand side, you can see that she's in a nurture cadence, and I can start that process by clicking on this button right here. So I can take action, and what this is going to do is this is going to write an email. Now, what kind of email do we want to write at this stage? Well, if I were a recruiter starting from scratch, I'd have to understand everything there is to know about Alice. I'd have to understand everything there is to know about a job we might want her to be a potential fit for, which in this case is a project manager, which is this job right here. And I'm going to have to go through that job, compare it to what I know Alice wants, and write that email. But I'm using the Asymbl Recruiter Agent as my digital worker, and the Asymbl Recruiter Agent knows those things about Alice. It knows those things about the job, and it can help me come up with an email that will entice Alice to want to apply to this position. You can see that it has a new opportunity that may align with your skills and experience. It goes through talking about the specific things about this project manager role that actually align to what she wants to see in a project manager, including the pay rate that aligns with what she wanted to see. I didn't have to write this email. My digital worker did this on my behalf. All I have to do as a recruiter is click on send email. And now that's going to move Alice specifically to the next step in the process here, which happens to be adding her on LinkedIn, which I can do with a click. Now I've got Alice added to this job. Let's go back and see what other candidates may be a good fit for this. Well, down here we've got Charlie Davis. Charlie Davis is a customer success manager. That's perfect. That's exactly what we need for a customer success director. So I'm going to add him directly to the job here just by clicking on this and saying customer success director, that position that we opened. And just with a click, I've got Charlie added to the job. Perfect. All right, so now we've sourced some candidates that we know in the local Austin area that might be a good possible fit. Let's go back to that job and start working through other ways that we can add candidates. So back on the job, you can see here on this right-hand side that our system has actually uncovered potential candidates for us already. Again, saving me time. I don't have to go through my database and search. My digital worker, which in this case happens to be the Asymbl Recruiter Agent, is doing that for me. So you can see here Amber has popped up as a good potential fit. So let's dig into Amber's profile and see why she might be a good fit. Well, first off, we've got these parsed skills that have come from her resume here, and we've got these validated skills. And validated skills come from jobs that we've sent her out on before, things that she may have done for us in the past, things that other hiring managers have actually had to say about her. And this is helping us come up with skills that may not appear on her resume and help us uncover these diamond in the rough potential candidates. Now I could dig into her past experience and see what jobs she has held. I can look at other jobs in our system that she may be a good potential fit for. And I've also got an AI summary here that I can look through and see exactly why she may or may not be a good fit for this role. Now, I trust my system, so I'm going to go ahead and add her to this job with just a click. And now she's on this role, and I can start continuing forward. So let's dig in and see where we're at with potential candidates for a job. If we go back to this Kanban view right here, you can see that here's Erin Lee, who was a candidate we added to the job. Here's Amber, who we just added ourselves. But if I scroll further along, you can see Charlie Davis here. Remember Charlie, who was in Austin as a customer success manager? This is Charlie, but Charlie's already in the interview stage. I didn't schedule any interviews for Charlie. So let's dig into Charlie's profile and see what actually happened here. And if we look closely on the right-hand side, you can see that there was an event. A scheduling call occurred between Charlie Davis and Anna. Anna is the Asymbl voice agent that allows us to handle phone calls between candidates and Asymbl. And this allows us to do things like schedule interviews, handle pre-screens, and in this case, this handled scheduling an interview. Down here, I can read the transcript where Charlie actually spoke to Anna talking about this new role, and they established enough interest to want to schedule an interview. That's fantastic. That's another thing that I didn't have to do. So back on the roll, you can see that Charlie's in that interview stage already, and we can confirm that this is actually a scheduled interview on the 20th at noon. Perfect. Good luck, Charlie. I hope everything goes your way. Now I want to take you to another job we're working on in our system that may be a little bit further along that could show you what happens later in the stages. So here we have a Python developer position, and we've got Jessica here who's been interviewing for this position. You can see that she's got a number of interviews that have occurred already. And I, as a human recruiter, would now need to go back and forth with the hiring managers, go back and forth with Jessica, try and understand how these interviews actually went. I need to collect all that feedback. But I don't have to do that because I'm making use of Agentforce as my digital worker. And here inside of Agentforce, we can simply just ask, summarize the interview feedback for Jessica Anderson and show it to me. Now, you might see that I actually misspelled Jessica Anderson here, but because I'm using the digital worker of Agentforce, Agentforce understands what I was trying to ask for. It's going through, it's searching through all of the various interview feedback that we have for Jessica, and it's going to build a summary form. And here's that summary right here. You can see that interviewers consistently noted that Jessica Anderson asked thoughtful questions, demonstrated command of her craft, and all available feedback recommends proceeding with a hire. No negative concerns were recorded. Perfect. Now, in this case, I, as a recruiter, can move Jessica through the process, and we're going to go ahead and make her an offer. So if I take Jessica and I drag her to this offer stage here, I can put in the salary that we had already pre-negotiated because as part of this process, we have collected that information. I can click next, and my digital worker of the Asymbl recruiter agent is going to go through, make the offer, send it out to Jessica, and we're going to assume everything's going to go according to plan, and Jessica is going to accept that offer. Fantastic. We're going to create that placement of Jessica. Congratulations. Welcome to the team. Now, remember that hiring manager where we started this entire process? What in the world does that hiring manager know about this entire process? We've been on the recruiting team. If I move back over to Slack, you're going to see that I, as the hiring manager, have a new hire announcement. Congratulations, Brad. Jessica Anderson accept your offer to start on 11/3. Now, that takes our process all the way from identifying a new position that we need to have hired all the way through showing me that this new hire has actually occurred and is slated to start at our organization. And this has all been powered by AI. We've had both digital workers and human workers into a hybrid workforce. We've had unlimited productivity here unlocked by these different types of AI tools. And this is all done inside the Salesforce ecosystem using tools from Salesforce, the Asymbl Recruiter Suite, and the Asymbl Agentforce Suite, all to power an AI recruiting workflow.